Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for this lunchtime news broadcast, where we catch up on the news making headlines across Namibia and expanding to the rest of the continent and the globe. In the news today, Waterberg Law Enforcement Training Center graduates 36 trainees in various wildlife crime prevention courses. 6 midwives are being prosecuted in Senegal following the death of a pregnant woman in a public hospital. While in Niger, the Minister of Communication has been jailed for his alleged involvement in a high-profile embezzlement case. We also take a look at news headlining today's daily newspapers, bring you sports and economic news, and more international headlines. I am Glenora Shipura, and this is NMH at 1. In today's midday news update, technical and financial cooperation agreements will be signed this afternoon between Namibia and Germany to ensure further develop the friendly relations and strengthen the economic and technical cooperation between the countries. These two agreements cover 8 programs to the value of about 650 million Namibian dollars, financing projects on access to technical and vocational education and training, promotion of small and medium-sized enterprises, establishment of sustainable financing mechanisms for Namibia's protected areas, establishment of an urban development fund, sustainable urban mobility Venture, Green People's Energy Project, and sustainable use of Namibia's mineral potential. Do stay with us for more news from our visual news segment after the break. Welcome back. Getting into today's visual news. Be Free Youth launched their codification report yesterday that aims to tell the stories of young people as well as the problems that they experience. The report also involves the solutions to many of the issues faced by the youth today. Jeanette Diergaard was there. Let's take a look.
My job is simple today. It's Be Free Codified. And this is the story of young people. It's the voices of young people that has been encapsulated into a document. And what we, I think, sometimes forget is, and the youth that are here with us, who have grown up in Be Free, I think Leslie is now the youngest Be Free ambassador. We have an army of people that make the work happen. And it is not our win, it's all of our win. And the codification of young people's voices, experiences, solutions, aspirations to change the world, to believe that Namibia can become better by them articulating and saying, these are my challenges as a young girl in this region, as a young boy, these are my challenges. I want to be seen, I want to be heard, I want to be understood. Where parents are saying, I'm struggling with how to speak to my teenage child, and saying these are some of my challenges as a single mom, as a single dad, teen fathers, teen mothers, all of them experiencing and articulating those experiences has helped us to be able to say, how do we make sure that the solutions that are provided actually speaks directly to the lived experience of the people that we engage in. And long after this report, what I'm excited about is that you won't meet every one of these young people that we've engaged, but you'll read part of that story in this report. And this report will go into rooms that they would have never had the opportunity to go through. Their voices will be heard, not just in this country, but across the globe, as they are going to be advocating for themselves, right? All that we're doing is saying, we are providing a megaphone, a microphone for you to speak, for young people to speak. And therefore, we have not interfered all that we did is take that language and said, and you'll see a lot of the youthful languages in the report as well. So some of the stuff, we put a little dictionary for the older folk. You understand? So not so woke, yeah? To just get some definitions there. But to be honest and true to the voice, the language of the young people that we engage.
In our next video, Awake Global donated 27 She Power menstrual cups to Swakopmund Secondary School. She explains the advantages of the menstrual cup to Micheline Nawatisis. Let's take a look.
Good day, my name is Michelle Besser, and today I want to introduce a product called She Power Menstrual Cups. This is a product, as you can see, it's a menstrual cup that was invented in 1937. This product was invented specifically for the elite athletic people, especially like your swimmers and your ballerinas, gymnasts, because at that time they found that when using a pad or sanitary products, there were a lot of leakages, and especially when the athletes were busy performing their specific sporting programs. So they decided to invent something that will help these athletes in order to do the flexibility or to be flexible when they do their different sports. And that's how this product was actually invented. So during the years, it was reinvented, and then the founder, who is Ruth Apostolov, she, during the COVID lockdown, she found that there were a lot of children in South Africa, in Durban specifically, where they were asking for money in order to buy sanitary pads. And rather than giving you money to buy sanitary pads, she decided that we need to get some products in order to help the problem of period poverty, and that's where this product has come into effect. So this is a product that is actually, if you use it correctly, you can use it for up to 10 years. It's a product that can be used for up to between 8 and 12 hours a day. So very easy product. It's biodegradable, made from biodegradable medical products. So it's very good for your body. It won't harm your body in any way. So this product is basically used in the place of sanitary pads or tampons. I will demonstrate at a later stage how to use the product, but it is a good product. It will save you money, and it will also help the children. There's a lot of girls that we found that stays out of school because they do not have access to sanitary pads or to tampons, and this product will help this girl to be able to do what they need to do and be comfortable while they're doing it.
What an exciting initiative. We hope to see more of those. Now in our next video, the Waterberg Law Enforcement Training Center recently graduated 36 trainees in various wildlife crime prevention courses, the first of its kind. Enzo Amwele attended the event.
Enforcement Training Center of the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Tourism. This specific center is built to offer training to Wildlife Protection Service staff members and the new recruits. As you can see, today we have our first historic training that has been concluded here at the center. We had the intake of about 36 trainees that graduated here today, and they will be dispatched and deployed at various stations across the country, and they are part and parcel of Wildlife Protection Service within the Directorate of Parks and Wildlife. So In fact, they have been equipped in basic training when it comes to law enforcement, when it comes to poaching, the first sin, also when it comes to how to handle poachers once they are arrested, and the many other disciplines that they have undergone.
You said this is the first ever.
My name is Karen Knott, and I'm one of the instructors. This group started last year in October in Amaruru, and today we've seen them graduate at Waterberg. We've had several instructors doing different modules with them, and it's been really exciting to see the progress in their individual progress, but also as a group that we have so much potential. There are some very, very good individuals with regard to anti-poaching, with regard to some of the legal procedures, the field work, the teamwork. So we've taken them through various modules in the last couple of weeks and months, and from being really new recruits with not any real concept of what they're supposed to be doing or why they're here, we've seen them progress into rangers with purpose, with discipline, and we're really looking forward to seeing what they can do in the future when they go back to their duty stations tomorrow, and we really want to see what they can do. We're going to have some of them back here in the future to continue the training, but we're confident that these 36 graduates are going to contribute to combating illegal wildlife activities in Namibia.
When we return, we'll be taking a sneak peek inside Namibia's daily print publications. But first, a quick ad break.
Have you received a loan from NSFAF? NSFAF loan is the same as any other loan. It must be paid and settled. NSFAF has a set of guidelines on how you can repay your loan and become debt-free. Therefore, it is important that you, a former beneficiary and a responsible Namibian, show your patriotism by helping pay back your loan and thus helping NSFAF become a revolving fund for the benefit of future potential students. By failing to pay back your NSFAF loan, you risk being blacklisted or having a court order against you. So arrange with the fund to pay back your loan today. For more information on how you can repay your loan, visit our website at www.nasfaf.na or visit our Facebook page or Twitter. Do the right thing and hashtag payback the money.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at our local newspapers. The Namibian Sun reports that lawyer Sisa Namanje confirmed that he has been instructed by his client, Belgian company, Challenge Air, to proceed with an application for liquidation after Transnamib failed to respond to demands for payment. On page 3 of the Namibian Sun, it is also reported that a total of 1,234 failed fires were reported in Namibia last year, and approximately 3.1 million hectares were destroyed, while 6 people died in these fires. The Republican reports that the backlog in the construction of classrooms currently stands at 4,479 countrywide. The Republican also reports that the right mix of power sources can make Africa's energy poverty a thing of the past, says the Mines and Energy Minister. The Allgemeine Zeitung reports the Environment and Tourism Ministry has to make do with less money, according to Tourism Minister Pohamba Shifeta. He recognizes the key to the recovery of the tourism sector in the community-based natural resource management program and is now gradually venturing into the sustainable use of wood in the northeastern Namibia. The Allgemeine Zeitung also reports that the Defense Ministry will use the allocated $5.84 billion Namibian dollars for the 2022 to 2023 financial year to establish defense systems, assets, and infrastructure. To stay with us for more news from our local newspapers right after the break. Welcome back. We continue delving into our local newspapers. The Namibian reports that National Petroleum Corporation of Namibia Managing Director Emmanuel Mulunga says the country in 2014 missed out on a massive opportunity to commercialize the Kudu gas project. The Namibian also reports that the Okahanja State Hospital mortuary has not been operating since the beginning of this year due to a technical glitch. In the New Era, it is reported that residents of various compounds in Windhoek's Vanaheda are adamant they will not move out of the houses with supposed collective ownership status, despite having received eviction orders apparent from the new owners. In the New Era, it is reported that Defense Minister Frans Kapofi has said that his ministry's $5.8 billion Namibian budget allocation allows for flexibility in the development of the country's defense force. According to the Market Watch, drugs worth 11.9 million were seized from a truck on 16th April, which entered Namibia from Botswana following the non-intrusive inspection scanning process. Now, there has been a 16% decline in the Tourism Ministry's budget. When we return, we share more on these and other economic news stories. But first, a quick ad break.
Choose your flex package with Paratus today. Sign up for ultra-fast fiber with the convenience of mobile LTE. That's 2 products in 1 bundle. It's new, it's 1 bill, and you can stay connected in more than 1 location.
For more information, visit paratus.africa/NA.
Always prepared. Paratus.
Thank you for staying with us. Let's take a look at our economic news stories. Environment and Tourism Minister Pohamba Shifeta has tabled the ministry's annual budget of $478.9 million for the 2022 to 2023 financial year in Parliament. This is an overall decline of 16% compared to 2021 to 2022 and will present a significant challenge for the ministry to execute its mandate, he said. Now, Shifeta said the Wildlife and Protected Area Management Program, which has been allocated $193.3 million Namibian, is the ministry's biggest program and covers interventions to support the community-based natural resource management program, combat poaching, prevent and mitigate human-wildlife conflict, and deliver benefits to communities from the Protected Area Network. The ministry's second biggest program, the Environment and Natural Resources Protection Program, was allocated $122 million and involves the implementation of the Environmental Management Act, environmental awareness and economics, and the implementation of various multilateral environmental agreements. It also now covers the activities of the Directorate of Forestry, Shifeta said. Now, the ministry said community forests now cover an area of 8.7 million hectares, while another 16 are in the process of gazettement. Now, in our next story, South African and likely Namibian consumers could soon find their favorite Simba chips and Lays out of stock following the KwaZulu-Natal floods that damaged producer PepsiCo Snacks factory. Now, on Tuesday, the group said its snacks facility in Prospection, KwaZulu-Natal, has been closed since 12 April, and although cleanup at the site is in progress, its utilities still haven't been restored, which is of great concern. PepsiCo spokesperson Deborah N. Sherwood said it is still uncertain when they will be able to recommence production with a disruption that will impact specifically potato chips supply in the short term. PepsiCo is one of many businesses that were impacted by last week's floods in the KwaZulu-Natal. US PepsiCo, which owns the Lay's, Doritos, and Cheese Toast chips brands, acquired South Africa's Pioneer Foods for 24 billion rands in 2020 and Simba in 1995. Some of Pioneer's brands include Safari, Bokomo, Bofril, and bread maker Sasco. One of the concerns the company had last week was that there could be a shortage of bread, but the group said its bakery in Saskrol was operational despite there being no water supply, News 24 reports. We now take a look at our economic indicators. The Namibian dollar has lost value against these three major currencies while increasing by 0.1% against the Chinese yuan. First Rent Namibia stock prices are down according to the NSX, while those of MTC and Namibia breweries, among others, have increased. Local index on the NSX is up by 0.05%, while overall index has decreased. All these major commodities have declined in value except for Brent crude oil, which is up 0.62%. A Nigerian minister has been jailed for his alleged involvement in a high-profile embezzlement case. Stick around for the full story after the break.
Adam Tas is coming to Windhoek to help build a brighter future for education. Join us at the Sounds of Caring concert at Windhoek High School Vegkop on 20 and 21 May, where he will be performing with Von Arends and Rian Smith. Tickets cost $200 Namibian and are available via eticket.my.na. All proceeds go towards the African Child Development Trust.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at news from across Africa. The Nigerian Minister of Communication, Muhammadu Zada, has been jailed for his alleged involvement in a high-profile embezzlement case. The amount involves the equivalent of more than 4.5 million euros when he was managing a public company between 2013 and 2021, a judicial source told the AFP yesterday. Now, the company manages the Nigerian state's holdings in mining companies operating in the country, including uranium. A judge of the Economic and Financial Division of NMH, who questioned the Muhammadu Zada, ordered his incarceration in Kolo, a city located about 50 kilometers south of the capital, according to this source. Now, the scandal exploded when the management of Tanadi, a local microfinance institution, wrote to Sopermin a year ago to say it had not found any trace in its books, according to the Nigerian press. Now, the state-owned company has already been implicated in a scandal linked to international trade in uranium organized by the French group Arriva over the sale in autumn 2011 of a large quantity of uranium for $320 million. It is not clear when the trial of the case will be held. Now, in our next story, 6 midwives are being prosecuted in Senegal following the death of a pregnant woman in a public hospital. Astao Sokna, in her 30s, waited in vain for a cesarean section for hours and whose tragic fate has stunned the country, their lawyers said Wednesday. Now, 4 of them were imprisoned Tuesday night and in the northern city of Louga, and 2 were provisionally released. The latter 2 had been employed for more than 4 years as trainees with a modest remuneration, and they were asked for results in terms of the quality of care provided, complained Abu Abdu Daf as he spoke to AFP yesterday. Now, the state responded to the incident by dismissing the director of the hospital, which was announced at the end of a council of ministers. A Senegalese health minister, Abdoulaye Diouf Sall, acknowledged on April 14th that the death of Astao Sokna could have been avoided with more vigilance. The circumstances of Sokna's death, as reported by the press, have sparked a flood of protests on social networks against the deficiencies of the public health system in Senegal. Now, the staff of the hospital reportedly refused her request, arguing that her operation was not scheduled and threatened to evict her if she insisted. All 6 accused women will be tried on the 27th of this month before the High Court of Louga. Now, in our next story, almost 2,000 Kenyan police officers are mentally unfit to do their work, the head of the National Police Service says. Inspector General Hilary Mutyayambi on Tuesday told a forum of bishops and senior clergy that they had found the surprising number of cases after medically examining all police officers. According to BBC News, Kenya has some 100,000 police officers working under the National Police Service. The revelation comes amid rising number of depression and suicide within the police force. Mr. Mutyayambi said he had started the process of discharging some of the affected police officers from duty, noting the importance of having police who were mentally fit. Our tool of work is the gun, and when one bullet is discharged, the implications are serious, he said. He, however, noted that removing the officers from work was not easy because of the elaborate procedures involved. Now, Israel has carried out air raids in the central Gaza Strip for the second time this week. The full story coming up after the break as we move over to our international news stories. Thank you for staying with us. Let's take a look at our international news story. Israel has carried out air raids in the central Gaza Strip for the second time this week, according to witnesses, with its military saying its fighter jets attacked an underground complex used to produce rocket engines. The raids came before dawn and there were no immediate reports of casualties. Witnesses told Al Jazeera that the attacks damaged several homes in the Al-Bujiri refugee camps in central Gaza. Now, earlier in the night, a rocket fired from Gaza struck southern Israel, causing slight damage to a house, but no injuries, Israel police said. Now, 4 more rockets were also fired from Gaza, according to the Israeli military, following its raids on the besieged coastal enclave, but were intercepted by air defense systems. No Palestinian faction claimed responsibility for the rocket launches. In a statement, Hamas, the group that administers Gaza, said Israel's bombing will only encourage Palestinians to resist the occupation and step up their support for Jerusalem and its people. Israeli forces raided the compound at dawn and targeted worshippers with tear gas and rubber bullets as Palestinian youth responded with petrol bombs, according to Palestinian media. Now, in our next story, a New York police force has said it is investigating after a video showing officers apprehending a young black boy for apparently stealing a packet of chips sparked outrage. In the clip, viewed more than 5 million times on Twitter, the child cries as a white officer from the Cyprus Police Department marches him with his hands behind his back into a patrol car. At least 2 other police officers can be seen watching. Now, in the video, an officer says the child is stealing stuff before the man filming accuses the police of treating the boy like a cold-blooded criminal and offers to pay for the snack. Now, local media reports that the boy, who has later released without charge, was just 8 years old. Many social media users accuse the officers of racism. Racism in law enforcement is a lightning rod issue in the United States, with young black men at much greater risk from police violence than white men. Now, Namibia football national team has been drawn in Group C, and some believe that chances are high for the land of the brave to make it out in the AFCON qualifiers. We'll delve more into this after this quick break. Let's take a look at our sports news. Former footballer Robert Nausep believes Namibia has an 80% chance to make it out of Group C in the Africa Cup of Nations. Namibia's Brave Warriors were drawn alongside Cameroon, Burundi and Kenya for the 2023 qualifiers for AFCON tournament, which takes place in Ivory Coast in May and June next year. Nausep added that the Brave Warriors would have to put in hard work to beat these teams. Now in our next story, Standard Bank Namibia announces their sponsorship renewal for the Junior Hockey Initiative, which is a development program aimed at taking the sport of hockey to schools and communities. In our next story, Namibian open water swimmer Philip Seidler, who competed in the 2021 Tokyo Olympic Games, has expressed interest in the 10-kilometer swim from Pelican Point to the mall in Swakopmund, which is about 20 to 25 kilometers open race slated for May. Seidler is the first Namibian to represent Namibia in the 10-kilometer open water marathon at the Olympics, where he finished in the 16th position. Now, Manchester City is under immense pressure for their next Premier League games if they want to retain their title. We expand more on these and other stories from the international sports scene after the break.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, welcome to another exciting edition.
You're still watching NMH at 1. Let's take a look at our international sports news. Manchester City will need to win all 6 of their remaining Premier League games to retain the title, according to manager Pep Guardiola, as he cannot see Liverpool slipping up before the end of the season. City edged back on point ahead of the Reds in the title race as the second half goals earned a 3-0 win over the Brighton at the Etihad. Now, in our next story, Novak Djokovic battled back from a set and a breakdown to beat Laslo Djere in his opening match of the ATP event in Belgrade on Wednesday, avoiding a third consecutive defeat. Eddie Nketiah boosted Arsenal's bid for a top 4 finish in the Premier League as the strikers' double inspired a dramatic 4-2 win against Chelsea on Wednesday. Do stay with us for highlights right after the break. This is NMH at 1, and if you've just joined us, here are your highlights. Technical and financial cooperation agreements will be signed this afternoon between Namibia and Germany to ensure further develop the friendly relations and strengthen the economic and technical cooperation between the countries. The Nigerian Minister of Communication, Muhammadu Zata, has been jailed for his alleged involvement in a high-profile embezzlement case. Israel has carried out air raids in the central Gaza Strip for the second time this week, according to witnesses, with its military saying its fighter jets attacked an underground complex used to produce rocket engines. Former footballer Robert Nausep believes Namibia has an 80% chance to make it out of Group C in the Africa Cup of Nations. Environment and Tourism Minister Pohamba Shifeta has tabled the ministry's annual budget of $478.9 million Namibian for the 2022 to 2023 financial year in Parliament. Those have been your highlights. Thank you for staying with NMH at 1 and spending your lunch hour with me, Glenora Shipura. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. as we take you through the latest happenings in Namibia and beyond. Stay with us for a compilation of news from across Namibia in our regional review segment.
Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome back to another edition of the Regional Review. My name is Enzo Amwele, the correspondent for Namibia Media Holdings in the Central North. In the beginning of the year, what we usually do is buy stationery for our learners or children, and today is World Stationery Day. Enjoy.
Kiss me, I want never to part. Can I give you my unconditionally? Oh, 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 oh.
Viewers, welcome back from our daily ad. First up in our news, employees of B2Gold held a peaceful demonstration earlier this week to demonstrate against the 75% preservation of their pension money. According to the group spokesperson Jason Uiseb, he says they are totally against the regulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are just here to clarify why the people branch of the Migrant Union has decided to engage in a peaceful demonstration against the proposed regulation that came about because of the passage of SEMA Act 2 of 2021. We wanted to put it on the record that we are not against the same act. We are not against it because FEMA has got good things also in it, like workers being represented on the pension funds. Those are good things. So we are not against the act itself. But what we are against is the regulation. The regulation to say we should mandatorily preserve our funds. That's what we are against. Because you are saying that you want to keep 75% of my money, only give me 25%, and only give me the other one in installments, to say monthly payments, when I reach the age of 55. And us as workers in the mining industry, that is not tenable at all. People are saying, oh, but then why are you guys, the Namfisa is saying we are giving you 13 days extra. But let's look at the initial stage of the consultations. Our fund is Orion Pensions and Provident Fund. We found out that there were submissions made, but never has the fund engaged us as members to solicit our views and our opinions on the thing. Only when we wrote letters to see them, then we got the communication on the 11th of April. And it even starts with an African proverb of, if you eat an egg today, you forego a meal of chicken soup for tomorrow. Meaning that, in actual fact, you are diplomatically endorsing the preservation of my money. Because you are saying, egg is saying, if I get my money today to eat it, tomorrow I will suffer, I'll be a burden. This so-called burden that, in my opinion, is an insult to be called a burden to the state.
Well, we can definitely see the cry in the employees of B2Gold. Next up in our news, the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism held a graduation ceremony for its 36 graduates who graduated from the Law Enforcement Center at Waterberg. These graduates are to be dispatched to different stations in the country. They were trained in different various wildlife protection courses.
Center of the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism. This specific center is built to offer training to Wildlife Protection Service staff members and the new recruits. As you can see, today we have our first historic training that has been concluded here at the center. We had the intake of about 36 trainees that graduated here today, and they will be dispatched and deployed at various stations across the country. And they are part and parcel of Wildlife Protection Service within the Directorate of Parks and Wildlife. So, in fact, they have been equipped in basic training when it comes to law enforcement, when it comes to poaching, the first scene, also when it comes to how to handle poachers once they are arrested, and the many other disciplines that they have undergone.
You said this is the first ever.
My name is Karen Knott, and I'm one of the instructors. This group started last year in October in Amaruru, and today we've seen them graduate at Waterberg. We've had several instructors doing different modules with them, and it's been really exciting to see the progress in their individual progress, but also as a group that we have so much potential. There are some very, very good individuals with regard to anti-poaching, with regard to some of the legal procedures, the field work, the teamwork. So we've taken them through various modules in the last couple of weeks and months, and from being really new recruits with not any real concept of what they're supposed to be doing or why they're here, we've seen them progress into rangers with purpose, with discipline, and we're really looking forward to seeing what they can do in the future when they go back to their duty stations tomorrow, and we really want to see what they can do. We're going to have some of them back here in the future to continue the training, but we're confident that these 36 graduates are going to contribute to combating illegal wildlife activities in Namibia.
Well, viewers, we do hope that these new rangers definitely take care of our wildlife resources in the nature. Next up, a 59-year-old man was arrested over the weekend after he was caught with cannabis at his house in Ochiwarongo at Ombili Informal Settlement. He was caught in possession with 53 parcels of cannabis at a street value of 100,000. Dealing with news in Ochiwarongo, IPC Local Authority Councillor Fierika Bota was suspended earlier this week after she had failed to declare her interest as part owner of Cheval Stable CC, a horse camp situated in Ochiwarongo. She is suspended from the council for contravening the council's code of conduct. Viewers, that brings us to the end of our news segment here today. Today we have a very special guest on the show, and stay tuned for our interview.
I'm Sevedias Kutep, the local authority councillor for Ochiwarongo municipality. I'm serving on the ticket of the Landless People's Movement of Namibia. I am the member of the local authority in the sense of the additional member of the management committee at Ochiwarongo Local Authority Council. I've been serving for this council for 1 year and 8 months by now, and I have picked up on certain issues that need to be addressed and can be resolved properly or amicably. I will touch based on the Senoret, for example. Senoret has got a controversial dividend policy currently in place, which was accepted by our chief executive officer without the consent of the council actually, because such policy, dividend policy, was never brought to the council for approval actually before it got accepted at the AGM of Sineret. I have posted questions in this regard. First answers got back, then I posted follow-up questions which was supposed to be answered I think by 2 management committee meetings that actually passed. Well, I never got back these answers. What I want to know is what is the detail of this policy? How come that politicians will go out with Sineret to public meetings? I will touch base on the regional councillor as well as the mayor of Otjiwarongo to, I don't know, apparently to serve as interpreters at these meetings of Sineret actually, which is a problem because it comes down to the point whereby the general public will feel that this electricity is actually coming towards them via the resources of SWAPO. But meanwhile, these are the resources that is coming through from the monies that was paid by the residents when they went to buy electricity, for example. But the presence of SWAPO councillors at these Sineret meetings can bring impression that the electricity is actually coming to the residents via the pocket of SWAPO and so on. I have addressed such questions and posted those questions actually to be clarified by Sineret, but I never got back answers. Then I am also very much concerned about the Otjiwarongo Community Trust, which is actually an obligation which is supposed to come through from Chida Cement actually. But it comes down to the point whereby this trust had already been registered at the deeds office actually. Now my question is, if already Chida has recommended three people who went to register this trust, and 4 had to come, 2 from the community and 2 from the council. Now my question is who gave Chida the authority to select those 3 people? I'm more concerned that a Chinese national is also serving on this trust. What if another sponsor is coming through? For example, Otjiwarongo is now signed or is about to sign a memorandum of understanding with a city in Germany. Now, for example, if we negotiate and get some funds from that deal, for example, is this Chinese national going to run these funds for Otjiwarongo community, for example? Those are the questions I'm having. Then you go back to 2016-17 session whereby one individual went and buy a piece of land in Otjiwarongo for the amount of 1.8 million 666. This individual only pays 666. He was supposed to pay, for example, the 1.8 million, for example, in 30 days. This guy never come back in 30 days. After a year, this council approved that this person can go and subdivide this land, for example. And today we had to go in a tripartite agreement with this gentleman because he need to recoup his funds which he invested in subdivision of this land, for example. But this land was not his. How come this gentleman will get 330,000 from this deal, for example, if this land got sold now? Those are deals. Then you sit with the area where we have got the Namcor service station, for example. This area, for example, it was a council resolution that gave that this person can buy a piece of land, 2 hectares actually. Council resolution went to the minister which states that this person had to for example, get this 20 hectares, for example, while it was only 2 hectares which was resolved. Who was charged? Now if we had to recoup the 18 hectares, for example, this person also has subdivided this piece of land and he had to get 170, for example, from the residents' money. Those are the sort of illegal deeds that one has picked up in this council. But they are also positive. Those were the negatives. The positives of this council is on the provision of land for the residents. We have got very good deals. NMH is about to finish the 40 houses in a short while. Then we have got also build together who had also to finish 40 houses. Then you have got a deal whereby extension setting has come up with 315 urban. Those are the very positives. But I'm much more concerned about extension 12 of Otjiwarongo. I do not know whether it was a good Triple B agreement. What happened there, I will not say, but I think that one is a deal which can backfire on this council. I saw wrap up, but there is more we can discuss and which we can share with the community of Otjiwarongo and throughout Namibia. I so submit. Thank you.
Well, it is indeed important that we stay in line with the current affairs of the country as the youth. And now, viewers, we head over to our weather report.
Looking at the weather for the central north, Okahanya is sunny and delightful with plenty of sun and comfortable temperatures. Otjiwarongo is somewhat cooler with temps in the high 20s with loads of sun. Tsumeb is mostly sunny and pleasant with patchy clouds expected as from Friday. Mild temperatures are forecast for Grootfontein and Okakarara with patchy clouds expected as from Saturday.
Viewers, that brings us to the end of the regional review here today on this beautiful Thursday in Otjiwarongo. I hope to see you guys again next week Thursday, and if you have anything newsworthy in the Central North, do not hesitate to contact me at enzo@myzone.com.na.